Okay, so Dawn, the first thing that I wanted to ask you about was how did it start for you in terms of getting into running?
Okay, it was never really about the running. A couple of years ago, my stepmom, she'd been my stepmom for 32 years, was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. So I knew that she had some really tough times ahead of her. And I wanted to do the Race for Life to show my support for her. She lives a long way away and I couldn't be with her for a hospital appointment. So I thought by raising some money and raising awareness. But at that point, I'd been inactive for about 18 years. I was 7 stone overweight, so I knew it was going to be really hard. And I think by me going through that tough journey, it felt like I'd be doing some of that with her. So yeah, I signed up to the Race for Life. I started running in the dark because I was embarrassed about, I thought people would say things, and there was a lot of crying because it was really, really hard because I'd just done nothing for ages. So cut a long story short, I finished the Race for Life, but I realised after that, with nothing else to aim for, I'd return back to where I'd been before, which was inactive, and somewhere along the way I'd actually enjoyed the running. There wasn't as much crying by the time I did the Race for Life. So, and a friend at work suggested Park Run to me, which is a weekly 5k. I turned up for the first one there, hid until they all started because everyone else looked like they knew what they were doing and really confident. But I think I'm up to 68 park runs now. So I've found a love of running, not just the love of running, but what it does for me and the way it makes me feel about myself. So running's one element, but it meant so much more to me than that.
Fabulous. And I suppose in terms of your running, what you'd said about kind of starting that process, do you feel as though kind of setting yourself those realistic goals after you'd done that initial run to kind of do more, do you feel as though Park Run was kind of realistic for you and being able to carry on running?
Yeah, because it's a great environment that you can walk it, you can run it at your own pace, and the whole community is really supportive, which actually by that point I was starting to like running in the light. I didn't have to be in the dark, so actually then talking to people along the way, it was a real journey for me that, like I say, I hid away in the dark and on my own to start with, and then gradually, I mean, now I've got friends through the running community that I would never have found if I hadn't taken that first brave step.
Amazing. And just out of interest, how many park runs have you done now?
I think it's 68 and 4 10Ks and a half marathon.
Amazing. Now, I'd be wrong if I didn't ask you, because it's, I think, an obvious question. What has this done for not just your physical health, but your mental health?
It's just done. It's amazing the chance. I mean, my life has totally changed. You know, I horse ride now. I go running. I go to the gym. What I look like on the outside isn't very different, and a lot of people assume that I'm doing it to lose weight or to get faster or to get better. It's none of those things. It was to find some pride back in myself. As I said, I was very overweight, and anyone that looks at me can still see that I'm at that stage. I did it so that for a long time I'd had no pride in myself. I had low self-confidence. I've got a lovely family and I'm great at my job, but anything else about me, I'd kind of lost my way. And I think often that can be the case either if you're a mum or a carer or you've got a very busy life, that somewhere along the way you lose that sense of yourself. So I try and explain to people, and a lot of people don't understand that it isn't about getting faster and better. So some weeks I'll walk Park Run with friends, or if somebody's struggling I'll stay with them, and I don't really worry so much about the time at the end. It's the time in between that's spent doing it. So my self-confidence is still not hugely high, but I've got pictures, I've got evidence, I've got medals to prove that I'm changing my life, and I'm starting to feel proud of myself. And I've also tried to be quite brave and honest, sharing my story with other people, so helping other people to see, do they recognise any of my story in themselves. So I know some people have made changes by reading my story. So yeah, it's not about getting thinner or faster, it's just about spending time doing something that I love.
Brilliant, yeah. And I suppose it's just kind of all round health and well-being, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think in society often we judge somebody's health based on their physical appearance, and actually really what we should be looking at is the whole person, the physical, the mental, the social.
Absolutely.
You know, all of that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So the last little thing that I wanted to ask you about today is you've been amazing in fundraising for Tameside, Oldham and Glossop Mind. So I suppose one of the questions I wanted to ask was, why did you choose Tameside, Oldham and Glossop Mind? And I suppose the last little thing is, what have you got planned for the future? So it's kind of a two-pronged question.
Okay, so I wasn't planning on doing the Manchester 10K this year. I had a place, but again, I'd got to the point where I thought, oh, I can't do that. I hadn't run for a little while, but I was running to the gym in my running gear, and just some random guy on the street made a really unpleasant comment, and again, looking at me and judging me by my appearance, despite the fact that I was in my running gear, so I'm trying to, you know, keep healthier. But that spurred me on to think, you don't get to look at me and decide who I am and what I can do. I control that. So I signed up to the 10K and shared just the story on Twitter, not expecting any real response, but I try and put things on social media, like I say, to try and influence change in others. And the response was phenomenal. And somebody said to me, are you raising money with the 10K? Because I'd like to sponsor you to thank you for inspiring others. So the 10K was the week of Mental Health Awareness Week, and ironically this year the focus was body image. So I thought actually a mental health charity was really important to support, and actually I live in Oldham, and I wanted to see any support for me from Oldham doing the work, the run going straight back into my community. So picked Tameside, Oldham and Glossop Mind because I've met the team before, and I think what they do is phenomenal. They've helped my friends and colleagues, and I think by the end of it was about 1,600 quid. The response was fantastic. So that day, me and my friend ran in our t-shirts, and there's a brilliant picture of us finishing, and it just made us extra proud to be doing it.
Fantastic. And lastly,
Yeah.
what are your plans for the near future? What's got next? Because I know you're incredibly busy.
So I did Race for Life at the weekend, which for cancer research, you know, obviously my stepmom unfortunately sadly died, but cancer research is still very, very important to me. So I've done that. There's a colour blast in September that I'm going to be doing. So again, that one's kind of fun, lots of paint being thrown at you, and that's for Dr. Kershaw's hospice, which again is a local hospice. So for me, it's really important about supporting my local community that my family, my children are part of. So probably lots of local things.
Fabulous. Well, thank you so much for coming in and taking the time, and thank you obviously from everybody within Tameside, Oldham Glossop Mind for raising such a fabulous amount of money for us. We couldn't do half of what we do without volunteers and amazing fundraisers like you, so thank you so much, and we will see you again soon.
Brilliant, thank you.